The following is a special Wayne Hills Television sports presentation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome live to the Gifford Gymnasium here at Wayne Hills High School in Wayne, New Jersey for the first round of the North 1 Group 3 state playoffs. It's the Wayne Hills Patriots and the Sparta Spartans. We have a 4-13 matchup here tonight from Wayne. The Patriots are the 4 seed and the Spartans are the 13 seed. I'm John Vittas here with Andrew Easse. Andrew, we were together a week ago to see Wayne Hills fall in the semifinals of the county playoffs, and this is all they have left. A big opportunity here in the States as a 4 seed to make some noise.
Well, John, that game's behind them. You know, you got to move on. Yes, it was a tough loss. It would have propelled them to the county finals. But you know what? This is more important. This is the game. This is do or die. There's no more games after this. If you win, you move on. So right now, Hills is going to have the mentality to come out here firing all cylinders, and hopefully they can get the win tonight.
And you have to credit Coach Grimes for keeping this team focused throughout the week. They would have had a week off, but instead they scheduled 2 games against tough non-conference opponents. As you see, an early turnover there from the Spartans. They went on the road twice to play Bergen Tech and East Orange on consecutive days. 2 very strong non-conference opponents. Close wins in both those games. They had a come-from-behind win on the road against a very strong East Orange team. So Wayne Hills did not pack it in. They didn't just practice. They went out and they played good competition to get ready for this state playoff game, and you have to figure that that's going to come in handy today, that type of experience only 2 days ago.
Yeah, and that East Orange game really sticks out to me. I mean, that was a big game for them. You know, going on the road, a team that, you know, they never played before. It's used to out of conference team, but just Coach Grimes getting that extra game in, 2 games I should say, I really think that speaks to how he's trying to prepare his guys for the upcoming state tournament. You know, he doesn't want, you know, any lapses in, you know, play at all. He wants to continue that routine, you know, game in, game out. He doesn't want to have because sometimes, you know, you have off a bye, it doesn't really help you too much. You can kind of get flat, so I'm sure it's going to help him tonight.
Well, we've seen it across professional sports. Sometimes a layoff is the worst thing that can happen for you come the postseason. Time for the postseason. So Wayne Hills is fresh. They're ready to go. They did actually have a few days off, not just a couple days ago. It's Monday night here. Their last game was on Thursday, so they come in with 3 full days of rest. That's a left-handed attempt from number 13, Richie McDonald, no good. Still scoreless. A minute and a half in, a couple turnovers from both teams early on. This is Wayne Hills' leading scorer, Dorian Hodge, from 3-point range, no good, too long. And the rebound to Jack Simon of Sparta. This is a relatively young Spartans lineup as Hodge saves it along the sideline. They play it up ahead to Belli. Only 1 senior in the starting lineup today for Sparta, as opposed to Wayne Hills, who has 4 different seniors that really contribute to their offensive game. As you see, Modak no good on his first attempt, and we remain scoreless 2 minutes in as these 2 teams feel each other out.
Yeah, and I think you just mentioned feel each other out. It's a state game. You know, there's a lot of emotions going on right now. You know, this is, like I mentioned before, this is do or die, so I'm not expecting the first quarter to be very high scoring at all.
And one thing to note going into this one, Sparta is without their best player. Oliver Mead is not going to play today. He has an ankle injury. He's been out for the past couple games, and that's a huge loss. He averages 10 points and 7 rebounds, 11 points and 7 rebounds a game for Sparta. He's a 65% free throw shooter, 50% from the field. One of their key pieces, a senior leader, is out today for the Spartans, so that should only help Wayne Hills' chances as we head through this one.
Yeah, that's got to be a tough break for Sparta. I mean, you lose what it seems like your best player, and the time when you probably need him the most, you know. But then other guys have to step up, and I'm sure the coach for Sparta, you know, is a veteran coach. He's been there for a while. He's going to just tell his guys, one guy goes down, next man up. You know, it's that mentality, next man up. You see it all the time in football, you know, but it can be in any sport. You know, once one of your best players goes down, guys on the bench have to rally around that and, you know, try to perform as best as they can.
And the coaching staff for Sparta said that the other guys have done a good job stepping up in his absence. They haven't lost too much as far as production goes since he's left the team. So he's on the bench today rooting on his friends, but they're going to be without their senior leader throughout this game. They try to feed it inside for Brendan O'Grady. Good interior defense by Kenny, and it goes out of bounds off of Hodge of Wayne Hills. Dorian got charged with an offensive foul on the previous possession, so a tough start for Hills' leading scorer. A missed field goal and then an offensive foul. Doesn't get that call along the sideline there either. 3 minutes in, it's still scoreless, and no good on that 3-point attempt from Nick Lucas. And Wayne Hills the defensive rebound. Here's Hodge along the baseline trying to twist his body and can't get it to go. as they battle forward in the corner now. Belli applying pressure, but it's Dante Jofield, the freshman point guard for Sparta, to come away with the basketball. Here's Jofield straight down Main Street, and he gets it to go. With the left hand, freshman Dante Jofield breaks the scoring seal, and it's 2-0 Sparta.
Yeah, right there. I mean, definitely both sides are just having a rough time getting the ball in the hoop. I mean, we saw there an easy, actually wasn't an easy lane. It was a nice athletic play there by the point guard. But, I mean, just, all these shots, it seems like the basket tonight's a little bit smaller than usual.
And there's Kenny on the rebound, scoring 2 for Wayne Hills. Justin Hodge missed the baseline jumper, but count the points for Joey Kenny, the senior leader down low for Wayne Hills. Averages 12 and 7 for this Patriots team. One of the lead players for Coach Kevin Grimes' team. Almost got a steal there, but Belli, the sophomore, comes away with it instead. Straight down the other way, no good. Modak there for the follow. Jason Modak, the other sophomore, cleaning things up for the Patriots.
I can't say enough about Jason Modak, John. I mean, he, as a sophomore, stepping up, playing, he started primarily almost every game this season, and just, there's big things for Jason to come, and showing his ability early on in only his sophomore season.
And there's a jumper from Jack Simon, and we're tied at 4. But Modak's gotten more and more minutes as the season's gone along. He's earned himself a starting spot, and he has played well, double digits in many of the last handful of games as Dorian Hodge launches a long three-pointer. Kenny, another offensive rebound, can't get that layup to go, and it's eventually knocked out to Nick Lucas of Sparta, who has it now right down the middle. Nick Lucas, 2 more, and it's 6-4 Sparta.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's still a close game, but you want to start capitalizing on baskets. We saw it last time when we were at Easse, Kennedy, I should say, announcing the game against Valley. We were just noticing that in the first quarter, they were just not finishing. And, obviously it's a lot closer of a game than it was against Valley, but still, you got to finish when you have opportunities. And as we saw, that came back and bit the Wayne Hills team, last time. So hopefully they can, get things together and start making some shots.
And an early timeout from Kevin Grimes as his team off to a bit of a slow start. Nothing like we saw against Wayne Valley, but they are down 2 against the 13 seed early on. And Andrew, you've seen some more games than I have, but it seems as though the narrative for Wayne Hill is that they start out a little bit slow and then they find their stride in the second half of ball games. They've put up some ungodly point totals in the fourth quarter of games this year. Just to cite a few examples, against Wayne Valley, the game that we saw, they were down 17. I believe they only scored 9 points in the first half, and they were able to only lose by 3 in that game. Earlier in the season, earlier that week against Wayne Valley, they outscored the Indians 25-7 in the fourth quarter. And then the most recent game against East Orange outscored that team 21-13 in the fourth to come from behind on the road in a hostile environment to win that game by 1. So they've done great work late in games, but of course you never want to fall behind in any game.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a trend I don't like to see. Okay, yeah, I understand maybe a couple games you start slow, but when it becomes a habit, and we've seen from most of the games I've been to, it's become almost a habit where they're having these slow first quarters, as Modak connects on that one. But that's not a good sign going into the state tournament. You want to be able to score early, so you don't have to be fighting back. Because ultimately, yeah, Wayne Hills was able to do it, and you can say, well, they come alive in the second half. But you want to be able to make it easier for yourself. You don't want to have to worry about scoring, taking a game-winning shot. You want to be able to have a lead and take that throughout the entire game. So hopefully Wayne Hills has worked in practice. I'm sure Coach Grimes has addressed this, scoring early.
There's a strip from Joe Kenny, and the center running the floor gives it up to Hodge, who draws the foul. It'll go against Terrell Smith of Sparta, but Dorian Hodge has a chance to put his first points of the night on the scoreboard at the free throw line.
Let's see, and I mention all the time, is these free throws, the team that usually has able to connect with them, usually chances are they'll have a better chance of winning the game. So Hodge connects with the first one.
It was Dorian's brother, Justin, to rack up the free throw totals in that come-from-behind fourth quarter for Wayne Hills in the county semis. They came up a bit short, but a huge fourth quarter for Justin Hodge's younger brother, as Dorian gets the pair to go, and Wayne Hills has a 2-point lead.
I can't say enough about him. I saw so much from him in that game, and, I tip my hat to the way he played in such a clutch performance. I know they came up short, but, he did everything. He left everything on the court that night.
And really, Justin Hodge rather, is Wayne Hills' fourth scoring option, and to have him put up 14 points in the fourth quarter of a playoff game like he did that day was awfully impressive. Couple of turnovers and then a foul from behind against the aforementioned Justin Hodge, as Jofield able to draw the contact, and it'll be Sparta ball. And another substitute coming back in. That's a starter. O'Grady going to check in for the Spartans, and he will inbound the basketball down by 2 with 1:24 to play here in the first quarter.
And this Sparta team, I'll give them some credit. Coming on the road, definitely not the seed Wayne Hills is, but they're playing like they're an equal team with Wayne Hills. So definitely early on, I really like what I'm seeing from this Sparta offense so far. Just, they're matching what Wayne Hills is doing at this point. Obviously Wayne Hills hasn't scored much, but they're able to. When they get a basket, they go to the other end, they get theirs. So right now, I think the momentum is kind of in Sparta's side of the court.
Foul charge to Terrell Smith, and Jason Cote, the first Wayne Hills bench player into the game, replacing Justin Hodge. As they try and give him a blow here at the end of the first quarter. This is Cote freshly into the game, as Sparta sticking with that 3-2 zone they've gone with throughout the opening quarter. They've held Wayne Hills to 8 points, and of course the Patriots, a high-powered offense, as Belli had to save that one in the corner. Good athletic play, and here he is open for 3. Joe Belli long on that attempt as they chase it into the corner. What a job by Modak to stay in bounds and save it. They find Kenny inside with the right hand, rattles out, and O'Grady gets his mitts on it and able to get it to the freshman Jofield. And now it looks like they'll hold for the final shot with 35 to play. Maybe not. Jofield trying to drive, gives it up inside. O'Grady, the left-handed finish, and we're tied at 8.
The big man getting it done on both sides, offense and defense.
4 baskets for Sparta in the first quarter by 4 different players. Here's Modak. He gets it to go. Jason Modak, a game-high 6 points here in the first, and Hills into double digits.
Like Sparta's going to take that last shot here.
Jofield almost lost it there on the far side. 6 seconds to go. Trying to go left-handed, gives it up. 3-point attempt by Jack Simon is a bit off, and Kenny secures the rebound. That'll do it for the first quarter here in the first round of the North 1 Group 3 state playoffs. It's Wayne Hills 10 and Sparta 8.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Right Way Driving School. If you want your child to learn to drive the correct way, then there is only one way, the right way. Right Way Driving School, where safety is always our #1 concern.
Welcome back to the first round of the Group 1 or North 1 Group 3 state playoffs. I'm John Vittas here with Andrew Easse as we start the second quarter. 4th seeded Wayne Hills on top 10-8. As we get things going early on in the long state playoffs, they go through 4 different rounds to win the title. They'll play the quarterfinals on Wednesday. If Wayne Hills should win, they would host it as the 4 seed. It would be the winner of Riverdale and Roxbury in the next round. And Jason Cote from 3. The first triple of the night for either side belongs to Jason Cote, and it's a 5-point Wayne Hills lead.
Jason Cote coming off the bench, doing his thing, getting a wide open look, and he's going to connect.
And Simon too long on that one, and Kenny another rebound. I believe he has 4 in the early going. Here's Dorian Hodge. One-on-one with Jofield, and he is tied up with Lucas, who got a lot of contact on Hodge. Not going to give him anything easy. Richie McDonald back in for Sparta. And obviously, Coach Grimes saw something he liked from that 1.5 minutes of play from Cote, and he kept him in, and a good decision as he gets the scoring going here in the second quarter. Here he is at the top of that Sparta zone.
Oh.
He tried to feed one inside for Modak, but it'll be a kick ball back to Wayne Hills.
Yeah, and I like that. I like giving Jason Cote a guy who he plays his minutes, but maybe doesn't play as much early on in the game like this. But hey, give him a chance, the senior, in a game like this. You want some veteran leadership, and that's what you get from a guy like Jason Cote.
There's Modak open in the middle again, and he gets it to go. Jason Modak taking what the defense is giving him. 8 early points for the sophomore.
Yeah. From a coaching standpoint for Sparta, I mean, when you see Jason Modak and Joey Kenny, I mean, they're almost identical. Joe Kenny's big enough, and then you got to deal with Jason Modak. So that must be a coach's nightmare defensively.
A steal from Cote. Belli running the floor along with Kenny. Look at Hodge get up for the rebound, and Dorian Hodge draws the foul, and he'll go to the line for a chance at 2 more.
And that play right there, that just shows, well, I think on this team, he's the most valuable player. I mean, obviously, his job there, I mean, he was going up against two pretty big guys that were a couple inches on him, but, you know, just fighting for that ball, drawing a foul there, getting the rebound, and that's just the hustle play by Dorian Hodge is phenomenal.
And Wayne Hills did a great job getting down the court there on that fast break. They had a 3-on-1 advantage, but everybody getting back down there. And Hodge wasn't the first or the second guy to run the floor and get in position, but he was the guy to eventually pull down the rebound and earn the scoring opportunity. Timeout called here by Sparta under 12th year head coach Brian Brennan. Very well organized. Got a chance to see the way he runs his program a little bit before the game today. As an iPad full of stats. He seems to be on top of everything. He's got some assistants that he can rely on. So despite not having their best player in uniform tonight, and despite being a below 500 team, having to come on the road, a long bus ride to get here, his team very well prepared for this game, and they're going to make Wayne Hills earn it.
Yeah, in 12 years, I mean, that's a phenomenal accomplishment. I don't care what sport it is. 12 years, that's a lot. That's a long time. So tip my hat to the coach, and just, you know, he knows what he's doing. So, and as we've seen, you know, Sparta coming in as definitely a underdog, but not playing like one tonight.
If you coach anywhere in high school sports for 12 years, chances are you love your job, and it was apparent that Coach Brennan does, getting a chance to talk to him. And when you have that much passion and when you're at the same school for so long, you really have a chance to make an impact. You get to know everybody in the community, and you really put your all into the job. As Hodge, 1 of 2 from the line. Wayne Hills now doubling up the Spartans 16-8 early in the second quarter. 3 points now for Hodge, all from the free throw line. This is Nick Lucas losing the ball and able to track it down. Here's O'Grady again. McDonald trying to find Jofield, cannot. Now taking it himself around Kenny. The wild shot is good. Left-handed finish from Richie McDonald.
It's a great play right there by McDonald. I mean, in midair, able to move his body like that and get a shot off that went in. You know, just a great athletic play.
So 5 baskets from 5 different players now for Sparta as Cote finds the range again. Wayne Hills by 9, 6 now for Jason Cote.
And you know, John, going into this game, I thought it was going to be a Dorian Hodge, you know, scoring affair tonight, but Jason Cote has stolen some of the spotlight from him, draining 2 big threes early on.
And Jofield went down hard. You heard the oohs and ahs from the crowd, but no call. And the putback good for Sparta. And it's now 19-12 as Jofield with the kick that time.
He came down hard. I heard that from, you know, where we're sitting. I don't know. I was more focused on that. I didn't really see if there's any contact there. You know, chances are if he went down like that, there must have been a push of some sort, but obviously not enough for the ref to call a foul on that one.
Dan Smith checks in for Sparta. That's a tall order for a freshman to play point guard against a team like Wayne Hills. Jofield, the youngest player on the court in this game. You see him there on the right of your screen, number 1 for Sparta.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned before about 13 years coach over at Sparta. You know, I was talking to Coach Grimes earlier this season. I asked him, I said, you know, what made you want to come to Wayne Hills to be a coach? Because he had offers to a couple other places, and he was just telling me that he wants to build a program here. He's not in here for, you know, 1 or 2 years, and he wants this to be, you know, a program that he's built from the start, and he wants to make it, you know, a legacy in a sense, where he wants to be here for, you know, that 10+ years. You know, he loves it here. He loves the people, loves the community. You know, he grew up in Wayne. And went to DePaul High School, and just, you know, really just an awesome job what Coach Grimes has done with this team in only a few seasons.
They find Cote again. He's on fire. Jason Cote, 3 in a row, and Wayne Hills leads by 10.
Jason Cote, as I mentioned, getting hot, stealing the spotlight from Dorian Hodge, but I don't think he'll mind that one when he's making those shots.
He's outscored every other player on the court in the second quarter. 9 points for Cote. The rest of Wayne Hills has 3, Sparta with 4. So it's been all Cote here in the second, as Wayne Hills stretching their lead to 10.
And Cote only needs 4 more points, and he'll be beating his Sparta. He'll have more points than they will.
And Modak has 8 of his own, so not the usual candidates putting up big numbers here in the first half. That was good ball movement from Wayne Hills. Cote, another open look! Forget it! Jason Cote, automatic here in the second quarter.
Jason Cote stealing the spotlight from everyone tonight. You know, senior coming in, obviously, as we mentioned before, not the usual starter coming in today, playing a lot minutes early, and he is delivering. I love to see that from Jason.
He doesn't even look like he's broken his sweat just yet. One of those kids that has the same demeanor no matter what's going on. If you looked at him right now, you would think that he hasn't done much.
No, absolutely not.
No smiles, no sweat.
He's all business, that Jason Cote.
As Jofield hits the first free throw for Sparta.
And if I'm Wayne Hills, you know, doing everything to get him the ball again, he's consistently made that three. I mean, it was a perfect shot. It's not even hitting the rim. It's going right in, you know. Beautiful touch by Jason Cote.
Jofield's second rattles out, and Kenny using all of his wingspan to pull down that rebound. As Hodge going to push into traffic, draws the foul, and he'll go to the line. But give Wayne Hills credit, a high IQ kind of basketball team. You saw Mark Osella come into the game. He's a three-point shooter in his own right, but on that play, you had good ball movement. Osella could have pulled the trigger, but instead he dished it to his teammate who we knew was hot, and Cote comes through again. As they run a great play to get Kenny open, and the floater is true for Joey Kenny, and Wayne Hills' offense flowing here in the second.
And I saw a big smile from Coach Kevin Grimes right there. That's definitely one he probably's drawn up in practice a couple times, and it was able to work to perfection.
27-13 Patriots with 4 minutes to go in the first half. There's another steal. Hodge the outlet pass. Belli with the left hand. He can't get it to go, but Joe Belli will go to the line for a chance at two.
So, you know, obviously this team, Wayne Hills right now, has shown me up. I said, you know, getting off to a slow start, and obviously that was the first quarter, but now they've turned it on. So they held up that end of the bargain, but, you know, I wish they were able to put this in the first quarter, so maybe now we could have a, you know, maybe a 30-point lead. But, you know, hey, we'll take it.
Don't get too picky.
I know, we'll take the points when we can in a state game like this.
Belli hits on the first. Both teams now with 5 players having scored already. As Kenny another rebound, although they go to the floor for it. And standing up is McDonald, no travel call, and now he breaks the timeline, giving way to Simon the junior, who eventually gets it into the more secure hands of Dante Jofield. 3:48 to go in the half. Wayne Hill setting up the man-to-man. Osella guarding the Sparta point guard. This is Belli guarding Simon in the corner. Wayne Hills' defense has been stifling here as they've gone on this run. And triple teamed on the attempt is McDonald, but a little too much attention as McDonald able to draw the foul.
You mentioned Jofield being a freshman. I mean, that is, you know, I don't care what sport it is. In a state tournament to be a freshman, you know, starting, that's a tough pill to swallow. Some guys aren't able to do it, and, you know, Jofield, he's played well so far. You know, what I've seen from him, you know, obviously maybe not lighting it up scoring-wise, but he's, you know, held his own against the big guys. So definitely tip my hat to Jofield early on as being a freshman.
And it's one thing to have the skills to play varsity. That's an accomplishment in its own right. But to have the wherewithal and the calmness in a game like this to come in and do your thing and not play, you know, not overdo it in a setting like this is another. So give, like you said, give Jofield credit for not missing a beat. As Cote, the heat check there a little bit short on that attempt. And the rebound out of bounds off of Kenny. And Sparta will get it back.
I think Cote might have been watching a little bit of Steph Curry lately. I mean, taking threes, you know, obviously that one was a little more farther out than he's used to taking, but hey, he's been draining them early on, so why not try it again?
Modak getting set to check back in for Wayne Hills as O'Grady possessing. This is Simon. He's can't find the range on the jumper, and a rebound to Osella. Wayne Hills controlling the glass here in the first half. Hodge trying to find the baseline. Tough fadeaway jumper is partially blocked and eventually knocked up ahead to Lucas. Lucas has 2 defenders to navigate, gets the shot off, but Hodge another athletic rebound. Cherry picking the other way is Kenny. Can't get that one to go. Cote cannot secure it, and they're going end to end now as Sparta going to slow things down.
Yeah, and that right there, I'm sure Coach Grimes is going to address Joe. Yeah, you miss a shot and you can't make everything, but like that, you know what, as we saw, possibly it could have been a foul on that 3 there, and the coach is livid. Livid here.
They're going to give Coach Brennan a warning here. Was irate after that non-call on the three-point attempt, wanted a foul and did not get it, and the referees calling timeout to tell both coaches to stay in their designated vicinities, as Coach Grimes going to mop up some sweat after that fall in front of him.
No, I think that's blood. I think Dorian Hodge possibly got hit in the nose or a bloody nose. I saw him holding. It looked like there was something red on the ground, so hopefully Dorian is all right as we saw him exit the court.
Not on the court right now, so they'll attend to Dorian Hodge, and looks like Osella, Cote, and Belli will play at the guard spots here. Justin Hodge remains on the bench as well. And Coach Grimes not going to rush to clean up the blood, knowing that his leading scorer needs some time to get back on the court. 2:19 to go here in the second quarter. John Vittas here with Andrew Easse. A nice crowd here at Wayne Hills. They've kept the far bleachers that you're looking at closed, so everybody's jam-packed here on the near side, and a nice crowd. Keeps all that noise concentrated into one half of the gym, and you really get a feel for how much the community has come out to support this Wayne Hills team, who enters this game at 20-4. Really one of the best Wayne Hills basketball teams in school history. We don't have all the historical data to go through, but in recent memory, this is really the best basketball team that the school has put out. Normally a football school, of course. The baseball team does well, and a lot of the girls' sports fare well also. But for boys basketball, this is as good as it gets. 20-4. Of course, they fell in the semis of the counties, but in the regular season, they've been dominant. They've beaten some good inner-city schools that usually give them trouble. They've handled the Patterson schools, the public schools, Eastside and Kennedy. They beat PCT, or they lost to PCT earlier in the year. It was their lone loss for the longest time. And have fared well overall. Coach Grimes is doing a great job getting the program on its feet after a few years here at Wayne Hills, and a prolonged time out here as they try and do what they can to get the blood off the court there in front of the Wayne Hills bench.
A very long timeout. You know, I don't know, maybe that was just a little bit, maybe trying to give Dorian Hodge some time to, you know, we'll see, you know, what the whole idea, because it looked like it was a little bit of blood. It didn't look like it took, you know, a 3-minute, 4-minute timeout there, but hey, we'll see what happens.
Looks like Hodge went to the training room too, not even out on the court right now, so they'll get him back, I'm sure, for the second half. Cote lost it along the baseline. It's a Wayne Hills turnover as they try to give him the lead pass there.
See Jovial bringing the ball up here.
So a little lull in the energy here. We'll see who seizes the momentum after that long timeout. Just over 2 minutes to play in the half. As swatted is Simon, and looks like they're going to call a foul against Cote, and they will. A lot of ball there, but they say they got a piece of the body as well. And Jack Simon going to get a chance at the free throw strike.
Yeah, and another thing I just want to hit on real quick is that, you know, a lot for these seniors, you know, it is tough looking at that this could potentially, for some of these guys, you know, I don't know Dorian Hodge, what his plans are early for next year and beyond, but a lot of these guys, you know, Joe Kenny's playing football, he's not playing basketball. This is their last game for these seniors if they don't win. You know, obviously right now the scoreboard's showing that they have a decent chance of winning, but you know, that's a tough. You know, you look at this like you got to play this like it's your last game you could potentially be playing ever, you know, so.
And that's the ultimate motivator in a tournament like this. As Belli all the way to the rim, can't get the roll, and it'll go over to Sparta. Belli hasn't hit a field goal yet, but he has made some electrifying plays offensively.
Yeah, and he was another guy that against Valley, I noticed, really struggled. He was not really on the score sheet at all. I think he was held to under 3 points, which is not like Joey Belli. You know, he's their, you know, their young boost of energy in a sense. Just that, you know, coming being a sophomore, he's able to hit the 3 ball. He's able to make the crazy lay-in, you know, and when he's not scoring, yes, other guys got to pick it up, but still, you really hope he can get hot. So that's just another, you know, a weapon Wayne Hills has.
You saw a strong baseline drive from Nick Lucas there to get Sparta within 11. Lucas averages 10 a game. This is Osella in the corner. And Kenny able to play volleyball with himself and get the ball back. Now he's open underneath and he's blocked down low, but a good feed inside for Belli, and that one doesn't go. Modak pulls down another offensive rebound. And they're going to slow things down here. Wayne Hills pulling down tons of offensive rebounds here in the first half.
Just a hustle play right there. Jason Modak and Joey Kenny.
Bella able to shake the defender. Modak the fadeaway. Shot is good. Jason Modak into double figures with 10. 30-17 Patriots with 30 seconds to play.
Jason Modak. I'm really excited to see what he does when he's a senior. He's only a sophomore, and it's going to be awesome to watch.
The three-point attempt, no good. Belli comes away with it. Running the break, trying to finish left-handed. No chance. Cote, the putback is good. Jason Cote, 14 second quarter points to spur Wayne Hills to a 15-point lead. Joe Field driving, he's blocked, and they call a foul against Osella. Student section didn't like it, but Joe Field will go to the line with 3.6 seconds to go in the quarter.
And Jason Cote is having probably the game of his life right now. 14 points, state playoff game, win or go home, and Jason Cote, my first half player of the game so far.
No question about it, as Joe Field hits on the first. 4 points now for the freshman. Very balanced scoring for Sparta. No one with more than 5, although they do have 5 players who have scored. Joe Field's left-handed stroke, no good, and Kenny another rebound, and that pass finds his head coach along the sideline, and Sparta will get it back, but the buzzer did sound, so we'll see if it's halftime or not. It looks like they're going to put 1 second on the clock, perhaps. Coach Grimes wants to lead his boys to the locker room, but it looks like Sparta will get a chance to try and get one more shot off here, down by 14.
This is going to be, just a quick release.
And the three-point attempt, no good from Lucas, and that'll do it. A very strong second quarter for the Wayne Hills Patriots as they put up 24 points to finish the first half of action. At the half, it's 32-18. Andrew, your thoughts?
I got to say one name, that's it, Jason Cote. I mean, the kid, not a usual big-time scorer. We've seen him make a couple clutch threes, but 14 points so far in the first half. A phenomenal job by Jason Cote. And just, like we mentioned, slow starting Wayne Hills that's been their name for the beginning of the season, almost the entire season. But they were able to turn it on in the second quarter rather than the third or fourth. So I really like to see that explosive scoring that they have, and hopefully they can carry that into the second half.
Wayne Hills looking for a date in the state quarterfinals, well on their way with a 14-point halftime advantage. You're watching Wayne Hills TV. We'll be back with the second half of action after the break.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Positano Pizza, the finest Italian cuisine and pizzeria. Show us your Wayne Hills student ID to get 2 slices of pizza or a bowl of pasta, plus a drink for only $5.
John Vittas welcoming you back to the North 1 Group 3 state playoffs. This is the first round. Wayne Hills the 4 seed, Sparta the 13 seed. Along here with Andrew Easse. A good second quarter for the Patriots has them out to a 32-18 lead at the break. Sparta will now work from left to right in the blue jerseys. The Patriots in the home whites. As we get going, the freshman point guard Dante Joefield leading the way for the Spartans as they feed it inside. And Lucas unable to get it to go. And now Kenny pushing it ahead for Wayne Hills. Justin Hodge, who missed the entire second quarter, now into the game as he couldn't get the floater to fall. And it's out of bounds off of Wayne Hills.
And, John, I'm noticing Dorian Hodge is not on the court, nor is he on the bench. So it's going to be very curious to see what that injury was, because we saw him run off the court. So hopefully nothing serious, because, if they win tonight, it's a quick turnaround Wednesday night here at the Gifford Gymnasium.
And that is very important to note, because he just disappeared once he had to leave the game with that injury, and he has not come back into the gym, so we can only wonder what's going on with him, as it didn't appear to be serious, but he missed the latter portions of the second quarter and now not in the gym to start the third. Joe Field tried the pick and roll with the big man, and they call a foul against Cote, and it'll be on the floor, so no shots, and Sparta will retain possession. 14 points for Jason Cote in the first half to lead all scorers, 10 points for the sophomore forward Jason Modak. McDonald led Sparta with 5. They had very balanced scoring. This is Lucas from the corner, and that one rims out, and Wayne Hills the rebound. So Cote getting the benefit of the minutes with Hodge out, and there's a beautiful pass down low as Jason Modak finishes, and he has a dozen.
So it's really turned, that first quarter, and I think that was also just being so close was due to the fact that, this is a state game. These two teams don't really play each other. So feeling each other out process, as you mentioned, and you're really starting to see the dominance of Wayne Hills coming through here as being, such a higher, seed, being the 4 seed, playing against Sparta, who's definitely not near that at all, and their dominance is shown right now. So
Sparta does play very good competition. However, they are below 500. Wayne Hills has not seen them yet this season, so you would wonder whether that would give them problems. It gave them some issues in the first quarter, but they've certainly ironed those issues out as Sparta will get the ball back here, minute and a half into the third. The Patriots outscoring Sparta 22-10 in that second quarter. So they went into the locker room with a 14-point lead as Simon is smothered by Justin Hodge. A good block by the junior.
Justin Hodge, that kid, we mentioned him before, having a great game against Wayne Valley, and just defensively, I think that's where he loses. Obviously, watching a guy like that, unless if you're a true basketball fan, and Jason Cote, wow, what a beautiful move. Jason Cote.
He's just having fun out there right now. I don't think he planned any of that. Coming down the court, a little around the back dribble, a little pull-up, awkward jumper, but you just kind of get the feeling that anything that leaves his hands is going to go in. Not the case on that possession, but a nice steal. And there's another one. Cote picked his pocket, giving it up to Modak running the floor, and he can't get it to fall, but Jason Modak will have a chance from the line.
Jason Cote. Wow. Game of his life, as I mentioned before. But going back to Justin Hodge, he reminds me a lot of a Kawhi Leonard, just a defensive monster there, maybe doesn't score as much as you've expecting to, but just does a great job defensively. And I really think that's why Coach Grimes has stuck with him throughout the entire season. That Wayne Valley game was probably his biggest scoring performance of the year. But he adds so much more to this team when he's out there.
He only averages 7 points per game, but there's really no negative to his game. He really has all his other bases covered outside of the scoring, and so he's a very important piece on this team as Modak splits the free throws, and the Patriots lead by 17. Driving baseline is McDonald. Jofield lining up a 3. And Kenny, another rebound. Belli able to find Modak running the floor. Beautiful court vision from Joey Belli, who looked one way and hit Modak in stride in the other direction. And the Patriots have their largest lead of the game. It's a 19-point advantage.
And I think, John, that might have been just the dagger that put the nail in the coffin right there. I mean, 37-18. I really don't see Sparta coming back from this one, and I think that now maybe get 5 or 6 more points, and we'll start to see the bench being emptied for Wayne Hills and getting some different guys some playing time in the state game.
So all 5 points in the second half belong to Wayne Hills, and they have themselves a comfortable cushion. We mentioned, not to look too far ahead, but we did mention the winner of this game will play the winner of Riverdale and Roxbury. That's your 5-12 matchup here in North 1 Group 3. So if the seedings hold, Wayne Hills would host Riverdale on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. That's 2 days from now. But of course, no one looking ahead just yet. Still early here in the second half, as the Patriots will break the court with their starting 5 minus their leading scorers. Cote has filled the void and then some here tonight.
And again, Dorian Hodge not being seen, so I don't know what that injury was, but definitely was something significant if he's not even back on the court. So, if we have any word, we'll bring that to you. But as of right now, Dorian Hodge is out.
That's a corner 3, left begging, and somehow Kenny has it again, although he coughs it up. And Lucas comes away with it. If we don't see Dorian, it's worth mentioning he is Wayne Hills' newly minted 1,000-point scorer, as he recently accomplished that feat as they try the alley-oop attempt for Justin Hodge, and he had the basketball competed for and unable to finish. So we want to give congratulations to Dorian on that fine accomplishment. Also, Taylor Rodriguez for the girls team, a 1,000-point scorer as just a junior. So Wayne Hills basketball is in a very good place right now with a couple of great leaders, as a great inside pass man Modak, as the forwards combine to give Wayne Hills a 21-point lead, 17 points for Jason Modak.
Now this is just a little disclaimer for any school in this area. Jason Modak's a sophomore. He's playing almost as best as any senior I've seen play this year. So take caution, take note, scout him as best as possible, because this kid's only a sophomore. He still has 2 more years in this program, and it's going to be phenomenal seeing him play in his senior year. He's doing phenomenal things as a sophomore. Again,
and
Jason Modak.
Right on cue, Andrew Easse. Jason Modak a couple more as the crowd comes to their feet to salute the Patriots, who have completely opened up this basketball game, 41-18. And a foul called against Modak there, and that'll slow down the momentum as a few subs getting set to check in for Sparta. Coach Brennan trying to find some combination that will work, but it has been all Patriots in the quarter. In fact, it's been all Jason Modak here in the third quarter. 9 points on the board in the game, and all of them belong to the Wayne Hills big men.
That inside interior score, it's so good to have. You know, you see in the NBA, just the teams like Sacramento with a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, that big man, that presence inside, be able to feed. You know, you don't have to necessarily, because shooters, they can be cold some nights. Some nights, you know, you can't rely always on that three-pointer. But having a guy like a Joe Kenny and a, you know, Jason Modak inside, be able to score, do things defensively, getting blocks, steals, whatever, you name it. It's just such an added bonus to this Wayne Hills team.
Lucas can't hit either free throw, and it remains 41-18 as Dan Smith able to get the steal there for Sparta. But we talked about coming into the season that it was Kenny and Dorian Hodge to lead this team, and Belli was a steady point guard. But Wayne Hills didn't have much else down low besides Joe Kenny, and the fact that you were basically able to develop a clone in Jason Modak is unbelievably valuable, because now you have 2 reliable big guys who can rebound and finish down low, as Cote tacks on 2 more, and Wayne Hills leads by 25.
If you tell me Jason Cote would be leading just about all scorers, I don't know if Jason Modak has more points or whatever, but I know it's very close. I would probably tell you no way. Not saying anything against Jason Cote, but that's just not his role. He doesn't see that amount of minutes. But Coach Grimes saw something in this game. I give my tip, I have to Coach Grimes, because he's obviously did the scouting, did the preparation to see this is a game for Jason Cote where he's able to exploit a matchup here, and he's taking full advantage of that. So Jason Cote, again, just great job coming off of, you know, the bench, really not a starter really, and just doing a great job. So Jason, you know, phenomenal way to start off this state tournament.
It's amazing that once you open things up in a basketball game defensively, how much the talent really shines through, because we saw it in the first half against Wayne Valley. Wayne Hills couldn't even complete a pass, and their offense was completely shut down. As soon as this game opened up and Sparta wasn't able to set up their defense, Wayne Hills had their way. They've been able to run the floor extremely effectively, and we've seen some great passing from everybody in the starting lineup. And just one note, I did catch a glimpse of Dorian Hodge. He had his sweatshirt on with his mom leaving the gym, so it appears he's done for the day. But obviously Wayne Hills is well on their way without him, so they'll play the remainder of this game without their leading scorer, but they lead by 25, so I don't think anybody's too concerned.
Yeah, but hopefully, you know, right now from Coach Grimes, 45-20, I can start to look to the next game, and that is, you know, fingers crossed that Dorian Hodge will be able to attend that game and be able to be a factor, because, you know, Sparta, yeah, you know, they're a good team, but they're not the next team. They're not the next tier of, you know, talent they'll be playing when they do move on, if this lead holds, which it should. You know, I don't want to jinx anything, but, you know, you need to have all your guys. Injuries are the worst thing to have this late in this game, so hopefully Dorian will be back.
Jofield trying to find somebody to help him out, as it's knocked away by Belli in the corner, and able to keep the handle in the corner and streak back the other way as Belli lost it for a moment, and it was tipped out of bounds off Jofield, and Wayne Hills will get it back. But Belli showing off some skills, and it looks like Klarberg and Kolinkowski checking in for the first time tonight for Wayne Hills. So they're able to get the starters some rest here, as Kenny, Justin Hodge, and Belli, Modak, Hodge, all 5 starters on the bench, as this is Klarberg giving it up to Cote. James Rim in the game. He has the basketball right now. One-on-one, goes up with the left hand. Doesn't get it to fall, as Sparta comes away with it. Osella into the game as well, and he kicks it there. 2:20 to play here in the third.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kolonkowski, Klarberg coming on. They've been guys that haven't played too many minutes this season, but when they've got in, they've made, definitely an impact. Klarberg with that three-pointer, dangerous, and Kolonkowski inside getting grabbing rebounds. So definitely, even when they have their bench guys in, I still consider them one of the top teams in this county.
We haven't even seen Wills in this game yet. He had a couple of big shots this season, as there's Klarberg for three. You bet! Jacob Klarberg from long range. We saw him do that against Clifton at the end of the half, come in cold off the bench and drill one, and he does it here to give Wayne Hills a 28-point lead.
And Coach Grimes is pretty happy about that one. Yeah, sends the guy in. Immediately, Jason Cote with a huge block right there on the freshman point guard. He'll learn real soon, learning the ropes, coming in, getting a huge block against the senior guard. So that's a learning moment for the young man.
Something's gotten into Jason Cote today, as Jofield unable to get that one to go, and there is Cote with the board, showing off some handles and giving it up to rim. This is Wayne Hills' second team here. Klarberg launching again, and he almost got the roll. Rim the follow, can't get it to fall. And Kolonkowski going to be over the back there for a foul, as he was all over the Spartan rebounder. Maybe not. They're going to call it against Sparta. So Kolonkowski draws the foul.
I think if Klarberg hit that, this entire gym was going to go nuts. Jake Klarberg, definitely a fan favorite here at Wayne Hills, and doing a great job so far.
And there's a kick against Simon. 1:24 to go in the third. You got to wonder whether we see the starters again tonight. Maybe get a couple guys a couple minutes here and there, but for the most part, we'll probably be watching this five the rest of the way. Klarberg able to get open around a screen, getting inside, feeding it for Rim, who maneuvers around the defender but can't get the layup to go. Kolonkowski saves it along the baseline. Now Klarberg handling the basketball. And at this point, the elder statesman of the group, Jason Cote, the most experienced player out of this five, gives way to Osella, the other guy who gets good minutes. Trying to lean in for that bucket, can't get it to go, and Jofield saving it along the baseline and able to give it up to Ryan Ruban running the court. Ruban with the left hand, no good, and Rim the rebound. Rim using the left hand. And Rim lining one up. No good, rebound to Simon.
And that shot, we saw him make it a couple games ago, and the crowd loved it. Coach Grimes on that one, for the big guy, I don't know necessarily if he wants him to shoot. We know, I've seen him make it before, but maybe a little bit of a better shot than that. But, hey, when you're up this big, you can afford to take those looks.
20 seconds to play here in the third quarter. As long as the Wayne Hills defense continues to get stops, I don't think Coach Grimes minds who's taking the shots at this point, just trying to let his guys get some minutes. Here's Cote cutting off the feed from Kolonkowski. Unable to get it to go. Cote following his own shot, and count it. Two more for Jason Cote, 18 points on the night. Half-court shot from Jofield, no good. It's a huge third quarter from Wayne Hills as they put up 18 more points, and they lead it 50-20 at the end of three. We'll be back in a minute.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by Tri-County Irrigation. From service to installation, we will take care of all your irrigation needs. Remember, a green lawn is a healthy lawn. For more information, you can call 973-696-0121.
John Vittas welcoming you back to Wayne Hills High School for the fourth quarter of the round of 16 here in the North Jersey State playoffs. Along here with Andrew Easse. Wayne Hills getting a few of the starters back into the game here to start the quarter. Justin Wills into the game for the first time as Joe Kenny able to get that hook shot to fall. 8 points now for the Wayne Hills big man, and the Patriots have a game-high 32-point lead. Left-handed shot from McDonald is no good, and Justin Hodge, another starter into the game, gets the rebound. Belli is in as well. As a turnover here, coming back the other way is Nick Lucas, and he's able to finish at the rim. Only 2 points in that third quarter by the entire Sparta team as Modak is hugged in the paint. So we thought that a 22-10 advantage in the second quarter was impressive. How about an 18-2 advantage in the third quarter? That's the point margin in Wayne Hills' favor in the third.
And I'm going to forget about the offense. That's more impressive defensively. Only giving up 2 points as Joey Kenny lays one in right there. That's phenomenal. I mean, that just goes to show that this Wayne Hills team is more than just an offensive powerhouse. Defensively, they're able to stop the bat, and that's they always preach, offense wins games, defense wins championships. And I'm a firm believer that if you're able to have a defense that only lets up 2 points in an entire quarter, I mean, that's phenomenal. So just defensively, offensively, they're going to score. They match up much better against the Sparta team, a little bit bigger. But, I mean, defensively, that's a great job.
Joe Field trying to complete the three-point play, cannot do it. Modak pulls it down. So you have 4 starters in right now. Dorian Hodge is the only player not in the game. Of course, we mentioned he's left with an injury. Belli slicing down the lane, can't get it to fall. Justin Hodge, the offensive rebound. Modak, the 10-footer, gets it to go. 21 points for Jason Modak. That's got to be a career high, don't you think?
I definitely do think this is probably his best performance I've seen him play. Now, I don't know what the rebound totals are for Jason Modak so far, but
potential double-double?
Potential double-double. That's what I was thinking, And, hey, as a sophomore getting a double-double in his, first state game, I don't know if that minute-wise if he'll be even physically able to do that, but for right now, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I think Joey Kenny's got one already as Justin Hodge can't get it to go, but he tracks down his own rebound. But Joe Kenny has 10 points, and we've seen him pull down a huge number of rebounds, and there's 2 more. Joey Kenny using glass to give his team a 32-point lead.
Joey Kenny, just dominant in football, dominant in basketball, everything he does. Known the kid for a long time. He's always been that bigger kid that, at everything he's done, he's excelled at. He's a pure athlete. Comes from a line, both of his brothers, athletes here at Wayne Hills, Jimmy and Anthony, and just, that Kenny name here at Wayne Hills means a lot. So just another great performance by Joe.
Nick Lucas going to try and match Joe Field's three-point play opportunity. And that one is short, and Kenny, another rebound.
Now, a guy we really haven't mentioned at all is Joey Belli. He's had a rough performance so far, shooting-wise. I mean, he's done more, though, as we see an assist right there. And I think Coach Grimes will, obviously you need Joey Belli to score if you're going to move on. But doing things like giving an assist, getting rebounds, hustle play defensively, that's the thing that you're looking for also, not just necessarily scoring. So Joey Belli, not the greatest scoring performance, but definitely doing everything as he comes in with the layup.
Just to make you go quiet for a moment, Joey Belli with a couple of points running the floor.
Absolutely, just the way things work out. But we'll see if he's able to get hot in this next round of the state tournament.
We're 3 minutes in here to the fourth, and it looks like Coach Grimes is about to empty out his bench as that three-pointer is well long, and they save it along the baseline. And the layup no good for Sparta, and Cote called for the foul. As Kenny heading to the bench, he knows his day is done. 14 points for him and a ton of boards. Belli, Justin Hodge, all the starters getting set to leave.
And it looks like Jason Cote might be the lone man left here after this substitution, as we see Klarberg, Kolonkowski, Osella, and Rim coming on. So, Jason Cote, he's the one that got Wayne Hills here, so in this position, scoring-wise. So
Andrew, you mentioned earlier how Wayne Hills scheduled 2 non-conference games against good opponents this week to help get themselves ready for this state tournament, and clearly that has paid off because they came in today against a lesser opponent, and after the first quarter, they have thoroughly dominated this game. So when you come into a game like this, having played tough teams, it really gets you ready for postseason play as Cote goes airborne there to rip down the rebound. And it looks like he draws the foul, and Wayne Hills will have the ball.
Jason Cote, I can't say it enough. Wow. That's all I can really, that's the adjective I use to describe him tonight. Just a phenomenal job. But like you mentioned right there, I'm not a big fan. Obviously, the bye is great. It helps guys get rest. But playing games, you got to keep that rhythm, especially if you want to go on a run. You see it a lot of times. They'll use the college basketball analogy here, comparison. you always see in the tours, Jason Cote just lighting it up from downtown. Teams go on runs. It doesn't just all of a sudden, one game, it clicks on. Momentum, they win their conference, then they go into the tournament, and they win, they go on a run, they win 5 or 6 games, they go to the Final Four, and they win it all. That's what happens. It's never very rarely do you ever see, a team just all of a sudden, they'll win 1 game. It's a combination of, you want to go on a run. And right now, Wayne Hills, they're on a 2-game winning streak. Continue it, tonight will be a 3-game, move on to the tournament, and just keep rolling.
What would you say before tonight if I told you that Wayne Hills would have 2 20-point scorers tonight, and it wouldn't be Dorian Hodge, it wouldn't be Joey Belli, and it wouldn't be Joey Kenny?
I'd say you're crazy, John.
But that's what we have. Jason Modak and Jason Cote have both broken the 20-point threshold tonight.
I mean, that's awesome. If I'm Coach Grimes, I am ecstatic by that stat line right there. That you don't have to necessarily, obviously you want your veteran and your star players to score, but if Jason Cote could put this performance on, now obviously I'm not expecting him to do this, next Wednesday, that's unrealistic. But to show that he has the ability to do that, in a big game later on, if they're able to win against the opponent against a Wednesday, and if they were to go on and play against a Ramapo team on Saturday, you want to see that if he comes in a big moment, he's able to produce. And right now, we've seen he's able to produce.
It's amazing that you could have a guy in high school basketball, especially, to have someone come off the bench and score 21 points. I mean, that's what we've seen from Cote tonight. He normally only plays maybe 1 quarter worth of minutes. Tonight he's getting a little bit more than that. But to have somebody that can do that is just unbelievable. We've talked about it all year. The depth on this Wayne Hills team is not something you normally see. Not only to have depth of guys that you can at least count on to go in the game, but guys that you can put in the game and that'll make an impact is quite the luxury to have. And it's this point of the year that normally really starts to bear its head, and we're seeing that tonight, that Coach Grimes can sit there and rest his entire starting lineup for the entire 4th quarter of a state playoff game. That's unreal, as Wayne Hills now leads 67-29.
And I think, obviously, we covered the last meeting, Wayne Hills versus Wayne Valley. And in that game, I saw the players, coming off that court. I saw them, it was almost as if someone died, because they realized that was so important. They were so close. The comeback was there. Everything was in line for them to win that game at the end. Obviously not in the beginning, but it's almost like it had to be, and it didn't. But I was talking to some of the players, throughout the last week and this week, and the same message from everyone was that, you know what? Okay, we lost, but we still got states. We still got another tournament. We still got work to do. We still got, the season isn't over. Yeah, you lost. Okay, it's a tough loss, especially against a crosstown rival like Wayne Valley. But hey, if you're able to, go on a run in states, that's even more impressive. So they've used that as motivation, and I think that really just goes to show how, mature these players really are for this Wayne Hills group.
It's one of the nice things about high school basketball is that you do have 2 tournaments to look forward to, and that even though the county is probably the one that they knew was a little more feasible to win, and it was against teams that they're very familiar with, and it's really for bragging rights as much as it is for the trophy, as James Rim knocks down the 3 to the delight of his student body, and the Patriots have broken 70 points, 70-33 Wayne Hills.
And Coach Grimes just gave James Rim the little, there's nothing he can really say. He realizes that's not the shot he wants him taking, but when he makes it, all he can do is kind of shake his head, because he realizes, it's garbage time now, and he's able to knock down that 3, so definitely not the shot he wants him taking, but. And Matt DeFury will be coming in here. Number 2, he's a junior, and alongside, it looks like Pat Gilmore and Justin Wills will be coming in soon as the next substitution. So DeFury is definitely a guy. We've seen him, junior varsity has excelled, getting really a handful of minutes here of varsity action. So let's see what he's able to do.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the JV season is over.
I do believe so, yes.
So these guys are just playing for minutes here. They're obviously going to continue to go to practice and work hard to make the varsity team better. So it's nice that they get a chance to come in here and get some minutes, log some experience in the postseason, which will only serve the program well next year and the years beyond.
And Pat Gilmore, I do believe this is his first varsity experience. So congratulations, Pat, sophomore. just, again, tipping your hat to him. It's a big moment for him, so I'm sure he's a little bit of butterflies right now.
How many players make their high school debut in a state playoff game? Not many.
I can't say many, John. Absolutely. Usually it's your varsity the entire time, and if you're lucky, maybe 1 or 2 JV guys, but, that's what happens when you score 70 points.
Just to go dip into my baseball knowledge real quick, reminds me a little bit of the World Series this past year. I don't know if you remember, Raul Mondesi of the Royals made his Major League debut in the World Series. He'll be the butt of trivia questions for years to come. But similar experience here for some of these guys making their varsity debuts in a postseason setting with a full house.
Yeah,
As there's a nice move by DeFiore, trying to go up with the right hand, couldn't get it to fall. But some nice moves. He's shown great ball handling ability.
And I have to say, DeFiore is definitely the fan favorite. They were chanting for him to come in off the bench to coach Grimes, obviously. He's not going to let the crowd influence his game planning, but the crowd got what they wanted right now. Let's see if he's able to make something out of his opportunity.
And Gilmore able to get it to Klarberg. We have just over a minute to go here in the first round. There's DeFiore able to hang, not able to hit, and the rebound into the hands of Lucas. Sparta playing out their season. As Lucas draws contact, doesn't get it to fall. Kolinkowski got a hand on it, tried to go up for the block, but wisely did not commit the foul. 2 more for Lucas. Just want to give props to the Sparta seniors, Brendan O'Grady, Dan Smith, Ryan Ruban, and of course the man who was not able to play today, Mr. Mead, on the bench, was the best player all year for Sparta. Missed this game with an ankle injury, and this is a tough way to see his career come to an end, as those 4 players are playing out their careers right now. Wayne Hills, of course, has a number of seniors as well, but they will play on a couple days from now. So 28.2 seconds on the clock here in the 4th. Wayne Hills leads 30 by 33.
Sinks that, and Sparta obviously just not. Wayne Hills is just too big of an animal for them to tackle. But hey, obviously it's tough season coming to an end like this. But when you lose your best player, yeah, you always hope for that Cinderella story where everybody rallies around, but chances are you fizzle out. And, tip your hat to Sparta coming in, starting off very strong, but just Wayne Hills being the better team. And I think that coming into this game, most everyone would have picked them to win this game, Wayne Hills. So definitely Sparta doing a good job coming down here. We appreciate the, all this stuff, especially before this game, giving you statistics that you don't usually get. So Sparta, nice job, but too much. Wayne Hills, dominant performance tonight.
And that'll do it. A dominating performance by the 4 seed in North 1 Group 3 at home. Wayne Hills wins 70-38, punching their tickets to the state quarterfinals. They'll play the winner of Riverdale and Roxbury on Wednesday night. And looking back at this game, Andrew, what are your takeaways from a very impressive first-round win?
Well, I said it, I think, at the half. Jason Cote, coming really out of, not nowhere, I shouldn't say that because he has shown the ability to score, but just he wasn't on my radar going into this game. I really thought it was going to be mostly a Dorian Hodge, Doe Kenny night. Dorian Hodge leaving for an injury. We're not sure what that is, but hopefully nothing serious. But just Jason Cote, it's the guys, the unsung heroes coming in. Jason Modak comes in every night and has a great performance, but I love seeing a guy like Jason Cote. It was like Jacob Klarberg coming and making some big shots. That's what you want to see in a game like this, showing that they can play with the big guys. So definitely an overall great performance, but my player of the game has to be Jason Cote for sure.
No question about it. We don't want to overlook Jason Modak's 23 points, but Jason Cote's 21, that much more unexpected. So congratulations to the senior stepping up in a very big game and really helping his team blow out a very formidable opponent here in the first round of the state playoffs. One point I did want to make before heading off the air, it seems as though at this point of the year, Coach Grimes has really put a focus on getting his big men opportunities on the block. We didn't mention that against Bergen Tech earlier this week, Joe Kenny had 25 points, and tonight you have Modak with 23. Kenny had 14 in his own right. So it's clear that they're trying to get their big man opportunities down low because they are very good at finishing. They have big, wide bodies. It's difficult to block their shots despite the fact that they're not super tall. They're both about 6'2", 6'3". So it's certainly been a point of emphasis for Coach Grimes to get the big men involved, and that'll be crucial to try and get those easy points down low off the rebounds. We saw a lot of garbage points tonight from those guys as well. So a lot of good takeaways from this game. Of course, Cote, the unexpected hero, 21 points, 23 for Modak. So that'll do it for our Wayne Hills TV crew. For everybody in the program, including my partner Andrew Easse, I'm John Vittas signing off. The Patriots headed to the state quarterfinals.